So I have a theory. I have done no research on this. I'm just going off the cuff, but it's something I've been thinking about special interests. And I have a theory that special interests are not just really intense hobbies. Like I don't think it's the same quality of thing as just saying like it's not fair to equate it to a hobby, but just like a really intense hobby because I just don't think it serves the same purpose for autistic people the way hobbies serve for like neurotypical people or just allistic people, I guess. But I think it's more of a neurotypical thing. And the reason why I think that is because I think special interests are almost like a like a lens through which we understand the world, which like hobbies don't really do that. Hobbies I think are more um like ways to cope through something. Like it's something that you enjoy. It provides pleasure and like enrichment and is a way to cope through stress, I guess, like a creative outlet almost. But outside of that, it doesn't necessarily provide you a deeper understanding of the world in such an intense way that special interests can. So I want to give an example. Um, I feel like when I have a special interest, I have a tendency to um, use it. I don't even want to say use it because that makes it sound like I'm doing it intentionally, but it's almost like it serves a purpose of helping me understand so much more about the world through the lens of that special interest. So, like, when I was in law school, I had a special interest of drug law, or like the regulations that are involved in regulating drugs, not just illegal, but like legal as well, pharmaceuticals, how we regulate compounds for the purpose of health, what have you. And that encompasses a lot of things. It encompasses, legality and morality and ethics from that perspective. Um, but even within the legal framework, there's questions of patent regulation for pharmaceuticals, innovation, what constitutes an innovation, what's worth protecting, what's worth making money from and rewarding for that. That has a lot of ethical implications as well. And, business law, like licensing, like weed dispensaries, alcohol licenses, things like that, and how regulations around that can impact and shape local communities. Like, how many bars do we want, and how many licenses do we want to provide? How hard do we want to make licenses? How hard do we want to make it to, for businesses to obtain alcohol licenses? Because that impacts. I feel like I just got hit with a bug. Um, you get the point, I think. So there's a lot more involved, and it helps you kind of understand more about people and like what they think and how people think about other people through the lens of that special interest. Holy shit, this Halloween thing is like kind of creeping me out. So my point is that I don't think special interests are the same as just a really intense hobby. It's not, it's like, it's almost described as like special interests are something that we acquire and then we use it as a way to cope through like life, almost like a hobby. But I don't think it occurs that way. I think it's almost like special interests are like a result of being able to understand or make sense of the world. And being autistic, we tend to really thrive in like that endeavor of wanting to understand, right? Wanting to organize and understand the world and the people that live in this world. So when we find a little glimmer of that, we really dive deeply into it and want to make sense of the rest of the world, as broadly as possible through this lens that we've discovered. And that's what a special interest is. It's like the result of that endeavor, if that makes sense. So imagine you're going through your life and you're kind of blind to being able to understand etiquettes, and the world just makes less sense to you. And then one day you discover something that makes sense to you, and you can understand it or relate to it or appreciate it. And it gives you a sense of grounding, almost like a sense of oh, this is a corner of the world, a slice of life that I understand. And then once you have that feeling, it's like you want to dive deeper into that, because we crave that. I mean, everybody does. It's just we're not born with the privilege of being able to have that every day, because we're not neurotypical. The world isn't created for our understanding. So when we stumble upon something, we cling onto it and want to dive deeper into it, and that's how a special interest ends up getting created, almost. I think that's how it occurs. Because it's how do you predict how we develop special interests? Is it totally random? I don't think it is. I don't think it's just oh, we have such eclectic interests or whatever. It's I think there's something a bit more predictable about it. And I think it is a result of it starts off as something that gives us that sense of understanding, and then we just use that as the lens through which we try to make sense of the rest of the world. Yeah, so that's what I think. Okay, another reason why I think special interests are the way that I described, like a vehicle through which we can understand the world, is because I think special interests are generally, or if not exclusively, intellectual endeavors. Oh, man, I'm winded. I'm just walking. I think I'm hot. I can't tell because I have alexithymia, but I think I'm hot. Oh, God. Bear with me. Sorry if that's loud. I'm walking around a high school. God, what was I saying? Intellectual endeavors. Okay, so yeah, so a hobby might be something that you enjoy doing because you like the experience of it, maybe exercise or skateboarding. I don't know. I don't know why that popped in my head, but something that you don't necessarily have to understand from an intellectual perspective. You can, maybe you have a hobby of building model airplanes or something, and you have a niche interest in doing that. But when it's a special interest, it's it's not just the doing of it, it's the understanding of it. So I think that's why special interests are not the same as just very intense hobbies, because yeah, I think I'm just repeating myself at this point. I'm getting distracted by everything that's happening right now, but yeah, I think it's a way to help bring understanding and predictability in a smaller, a realm. We're creating a universe, or a little world where we this is so funny. Just music in the background, just Nirvana just blasting. God, I can't filter it out. Of course, because I'm autistic. Yeah, I'm just gonna wait a second. God, it's so beautiful out here. I really love the smell of like wet fall leaves on the ground, that sweet, kind of almost like fermenting smell, you know what I'm talking about? Where it's like you step outside and it's just like that sweet, like wet leaf smell. I don't know if it's, I don't know if that's the smell that like, it's like like the leaves are like giving off compounds or something. And that's what you're smelling. Like, I mean, obviously that's what smells are, the part it is, but like, is that from the process of the leaves fermenting? Because it almost has like that sweet kind of like like alcohol like smell. It's not rotting. It's not like a sour or like a bad smell. It's like a sweet smell. I really like it. Anyway, okay, I'm far enough away. Um, yeah, that's another reason why I think special interests are like ways for us to understand things, because we often go through life experiencing lack of understanding. And that's a really unsettling experience because, you know, I don't even have to explain that. So when we have a special interest, it's like, this is our way of building understanding. And it starts off by, okay, so what I was saying earlier about like predictability, I think maybe it depends on maybe your personality or things that, I don't know. I think I need to think about this a bit. Like, how do you predict can you predict what someone's special interests will end up being throughout their life? Not like to a perfect extent, but like a certain extent, like based on maybe their preferences, how they cope with stress, what choices they make. Like, they will, like, can you predict that they will be able to relate to this thing that ends up becoming a special interest for them? I bet there's a way to predict that. Yeah, anyway, rant number 2. So it's been a couple of days. I've had to kind of mull over, and I think I'd like to add a bit more about special interests. I tend to have a bit of delayed processing sometimes when I really want to articulate something, and it kind of comes in waves. Like, I'll days later, I'm like, oh, I have this like insight or thought that I want to share. Um, so I think the way I experience special interests is like, it isn't the object of my attention. Maybe sometimes it feels like that, or I would describe it that way. Like, I intend for that topic to be sort of like the center of my attention or obsession or like passion. But I think I've often found that it tends to serve a different purpose when it really ends up being like a very deep special interest, and maybe not so much a hyper focus. But yeah, so I feel like it's not really the object of like my attention. It's more like the lens through which I see some part of the world, some corner of the world, or like some topic. And I often find that the deeper the interest is, the more I can kind of find correlations between that topic and other areas of life that other people may not find those connections or see those connections. Yeah, so like, if you were to analogize this, it would be like if you were a train and a special interest would be like one of the tracks that you can follow. It's not the destination, it's the means. It's a means to get to a destination, whatever that might be for you. Maybe that's like seeking connection with others, or I don't know, seeking to make sense of something about the world, seeking to make sense, to like organize or categorize some aspect of life that resonates with you, that you feel like you feel a part of it, like it feels like it's a part of you. And you just, when I find a special interest, I just feel like this urge to want to pour myself into it, because I really want to feel like I connect with the world. And I think a special interest is like the like a lens through which I can make sense of many other things broader than like that topic itself. It's really windy. So I'm sorry if this is noisy. Yeah, so let me know if you guys resonate with that or um yeah, just thanks for watching.